Okay, so this is like the beginning. How's my hair? Okay. Everybody ready? Let's do it. Hey friends, welcome to the Chefsmartypants Academy here on YouTube. Woo! This is our new home for longer format content, so thanks so much for hopping over here and joining me. If you are one of my followers on Instagram or TikTok, thank you so much. And thanks for making the leap and coming over here also to YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, click that button down there. But I'll be doing more in-depth content here. A lot of you have asked me to go deeper on certain subjects, and so I'm happy to oblige. So we're going to be doing videos here where I'll go more into things like knife skills, how to saute, how to make stock. Basically this is cooking school. Okay? It's like you're going to culinary school, but you're saving the $70,000, watching me here instead. Okay, let's get started because when you are in culinary school, the first thing you learn, the first thing you work on is knife skills. So let's talk about knife skills today. Home cooks, you need a good chef's knife, okay? Don't use some piece of junk knife you inherited from your mother or, you bought for $2 on the street. Get yourself a good chef's knife. It's your most important tool, okay? Now, size matters with knives, but you don't want anything too big. You don't want anything you're too uncomfortable with. So I have an array of knives here that I just want to show you. I have a 7. I have, what's this one? Like an 8. This is also an 8. And then this is big boy. We don't use big boy. For home cooks, I would recommend something between a 7 and a 10. This is inches. Sorry, metric speakers. Do the math yourself. But I like to use something in the kind of 8 to 10 inch range. For home cooks, that's a good size. It doesn't take up too much room. It's not going to be too uncomfortable. Now, when you're shopping for a knife, because you want to go out there and you want to try a bunch of knives, the thing that really matters is how that knife feels in your hand. You want to pick those knives up and you want to see what they feel like. It should feel nice and balanced. Shouldn't feel too heavy. The handle should feel very comfortable for you, especially for women. Sometimes we have smaller hands. You want to really make sure that you can hold that grip carefully. And then you want to look at what that knife is made out of. That knife blade should be made from what's called high carbon stainless steel. That's like a mix. It's an amalgam of stainless steel and high carbon steel, and that makes for the best quality chef's knives. They're durable, but they're a little flexible. They're easy to sharpen. They hold their edge. Don't cheap out and buy yourself just a stainless steel blade. You'll regret it, okay? A chef's knife is like a once in a lifetime purchase because if you take good care of it, you're going to have it forever, okay? Taking good care of it also means, number one, no dishwasher, okay? Now, I love my little dishwasher over there, but my knives have never even visited it. They've never met, and they never will, because dishwashers ruin your knives, okay? So wash by hand, dry them, put them away, put them in something like a knife block or like a magnetic knife holder, something like that. Keep them safe. Treat your knives like the fine tools that they are. So you go out, you pick out a knife, you get yourself a knife, you decide it feels good, you bring it home, you're great. Along with your knife, you need one of these. This is called a steel, a honing steel. Now, this is not for sharpening your knife. This is for bringing the edge back between sharpenings on your knife. When you see chefs work, we have one of these. We use it constantly. You need one. You need to know how to use it. You hold your knife at a 20-degree angle. You can go away from you. You can go this way. We're going to go way more into sharpening down the road, so don't worry about it. But along with that, you're also going to want to get a sharpening stone. Again, down the road. Stay tuned, okay? We'll get back to that. All right, now you've got your knife. How do you hold your knife? I'm a righty, holding it in my right hand. When you hold that knife, you want to wrap these 3 fingers around the handle and then take these 2 and grip that blade, almost like you're pinching it, okay? This is the correct way to hold a chef's knife, a Western style chef's knife. What you don't want to do is this. A lot of people do this. This is wrong. Don't do this. Don't do wrong. Do it right. So you get the grip. Also, don't hold it back here like I'm afraid of it. Don't do that. Choke up on it.
This is Sparta!
Like a bat, like a golf club. Get up there, okay? This is going to give you the most control and the most power. And really, isn't that kind of what life is about? Having control and power? At least here in New York, it is. Your other hand is the hand that's going to be holding your food, and that is going to stay curled. You're going to keep those fingers curled. I call it spider fingers or the claw. That way you don't give yourself the permanent manicure. Nobody wants that. No blood. So you're going to keep those fingers curled. You're going to work together in tandem with this hand. Okay, so let's just talk about how to do like a basic slice and how you actually use your knife. I'm going to make a little room here. So these knives have, as you can see, a curved blade. Okay, it's not a straight blade like a cleaver, like Asian style cutting. You use a straight blade. This is actually a curved blade. And we use that curved blade to our advantage when we cut, because we cut in this forward motion. Okay, so when I cut with this knife, it's a continuous forward rocking motion like that. Okay, I'm not going straight up and down. You can almost think of it like a plane coming in for a land, like that. And you want to get used to that because it's much more efficient than lifting your knife up every time you cut. Okay, so that's what this hand is doing. This hand is going to hold the food. This is way too long. You don't want to start cutting something this long. So I break it down into much more manageable sized pieces. Yeah. So I like to go not much bigger than the distance that I can grip between my middle finger and my thumb. So I get a good grip on it and it's comfortable. I'm going to curl up those fingers again, get my spider going. And when I cut, what I always want to do is I want to be looking on this side of the knife. I'm not hanging out back here admiring my nice apartment. I'm looking over at this side of the knife so I can see what's happening here. So what I do is I start with the tip of the knife, the toe, about 1.5 inches in front of the food. I curl up those fingers. I look over the knife so I can see the size of what I'm cutting, and I cut. I go forward. Now you see how that's stuck? That's good. We want that to stick because now when I pull back and I'm looking in front, I can see that piece. That becomes my guide for my next piece. That's like my template so that my next piece is exactly the same size. Okay? And then again, and I keep going. And don't worry about the food sticking to your knife because eventually it starts to fall off. And I'm going forward and I'm forward and I'm forward and I'm always looking in front of the knife so that everything is the same size, and I'm crawling these fingers back as I do it. I'll show you again. So it's kind of, people always ask me if I'm moving the knife back or if I'm pushing the food forward. It's a little of each, actually. I find with food that slides easily, I can push it forward. But sometimes if I cut something like zucchini, it's sticky and it tends to get stuck on the board. So I move my knife back. But in this case, I'm using my thumb and I'm actually sliding the food forward as I move the knife back. It's kind of you're working together. Requires some coordination. Okay? But something like celery is a great thing to start with because it's easy to cut, it slides, and there you go. So I have all these nice little half circles of celery like that. What if I wanted to do a dice, though, of celery? This is just a classic slice. What if we want to do a dice? So for a dice, what I would do is I would take this piece, split it in half again, and now I have something more like a dice. I can even do that and line these up, and then I can do my dice. Now, it's not, of course, a perfect geometric 6-sided dice, but it's closer to what I would want if I wanted a dice. What if I wanted to do something a little bit bigger? I could do a bigger dice. I could go a little bit smaller. But that's how it works with celery. You have your dice, you have your basic slice. Okay, so when I was cutting the celery, I don't know if you noticed, but what I always do is I want to be safe, right? Safety first. So I don't cut it this way with the curvy side down because that's unstable. I cut it this way so it's stable. So you always want to think about that when you're cutting. Be safe. Keep those fingers tucked, keep things safe. But what if you are cutting something kind of round and rolly like this? Sometimes, you have to do that. So you just want to be really careful. You want to get a really good grip on it. But generally, if I'm going to cut something like a cucumber, I'll cut it in half first, and then I'll put it cut side down for safety. And then it's the same idea. Look in front of your knife, get that size lined up, and get everybody stuck together there on the blade, like that. Okay, so that's how we do our cukes. Okay, so now you know how to hold your knife, you know how to do basic slicing. So I want everybody to practice during the week. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Chef Smarty Pants Academy. And in the meantime, between practicing your knife skills, I need you to click that button. You got to subscribe. I want you to share this with your friends, and I want you to comment. Talk to me. You're all very good at commenting on Instagram, so bring it over here to YouTube and leave those comments. Thank you so much for joining me on my first episode of the Chef Smarty Pants Academy extended version here on YouTube. And tell your friends, I'm pretty good. You know that. You all came over here from somewhere else. So we'll see you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye. My neighbor has this little tiny Italian greyhound, and it runs up and down the hallway like a maniac. It's a cute dog, but like